So, welcome everybody. This is the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform weekly community call happening every single Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific time. Today is October 1st. It is the first day of the second quarter in our fiscal year, or the first day of the fourth quarter in the calendar year. So in Microsoft, the fiscals work in a really weird way. We start our new year always in July, and then we end up in June. That's why we talk about already fiscal year 25, which is a bit confusing. But that's why you might hear Microsoft people saying we're in the Q2 now, which is actually Q3 in calendar year. Anyway, a bit more insights on the Microsoft side. So my name is Sathya Raveendran. I'll be your host today. It is also, just to call this out because I said it in social media as well, today is my 18th year in Microsoft, which is a pretty cool. So first as a consultant and then moving into engineering role, I think a bit more than 10 years ago. It's been a pretty long ride, but still here, not going anywhere, and no plans to change the thing. Community is my passion. Now, let's get moving on what's going to happen today. So we do have two demos. Before the demos, we're going to reset and recap some of the assets which are available for you to get started, and also the latest news. And we will also do the Get Mode picture, so we get everybody into the Get Mode. So please be ready to enable your camera. So you get to the Get Mode, and we will capture a GIF animation out of that, which we will share in the social media. On the demo section, and we have Sathya. Sathya is going to do a demo related on building Teams AI-powered meeting helper for generating automatic action items using Azure Open AI. Really cool scenario, cool automation, how you can actually make that happen using the Teams AI SDK. And the second thing is something which has been requested from us quite a few times, which is a bit more the insights on the latest updates and the future roadmap on the Viva Connection extensibility. We're going to recap quickly again what is Microsoft Viva, what is Microsoft Viva Connection, and then focus on the latest capabilities, the things which have been just shipped or what is available. Well, also some new things which you probably haven't heard about, which are coming on the Viva Connection capabilities, and also expanding some of those capabilities, also the SharePoint and other areas. We'll talk about that one in that section a bit more detail. Now, before we go there, I will just double check and confirm that our presenters are in a call. That's great. We are good to go forward. Now, quick recap on all of the different assets which are available. You might have seen the slides already in the past. It's okay. There's a lot of always new people joining on this call. So we want to make sure that we don't assume that people have all of the knowledge and we're in a 400 level. No. We always want to recap what are the assets to get started on Microsoft 365 and Power Platform. We have our YouTube channel. That's important for you because you're in this call. You might be missing some of these calls and might be wondering, well, maybe I missed the last week's call and I want to actually get the recording. Where do I get the recording? From that YouTube channel. So every single call is getting published over there. Also, every single demo is getting published within that YouTube channel. We do publish at least one video within that YouTube channel every single business day throughout the week, which is really cool. So that means a lot of new content for you to take advantage. We also have our LinkedIn page and group discussions. LinkedIn page is a great way of following up on what's happening. We also publish the social media kit, the Together Mode pictures over there, always after the call. And there's also open source and sample galleries. And then you're wondering, wait a minute, a lot of URLs. Luckily, only one URL, which is AKMS Community Home, from where you can find all of the relevant assets for you to get started. Now, we do have a lot of community calls. This is the call, which is happening on the first call, which is happening on Tuesday, every single Tuesday, 8 a.m. Pacific time. And this is the call with Microsoft speakers. So we really want to have a dedicated location where we have Microsoft PMs and cloud advocates and engineering coming and sharing to you how they built the product, how it's intended to be used. However, that's not necessarily always how it's being used, because quite often we see our customers and partners using their creative minds to use our tooling in a bit differently or building really awesome capabilities. And we want to have that option for them to showcase what they built as well. And that's why we have the Thursday 7 a.m. Pacific series, which is either the Microsoft 365 Power Platform community, which is the bi-weekly one, or Viva Connection SharePoint Framework community calls. So those are circling around every single Thursday, 7 a.m. Pacific time. And that actually happens every single Thursday, regardless of the holidays, public holidays, whatever. If you want to hang out with the community, we'll be there for you. So we'll be waiting for you to join. Thanksgiving, Christmas, doesn't matter. We'll be there definitely within that call. And then on top of that, we have the Power Platform and Office Add-in calls, which are happening on a monthly basis. Power Platform typically is all about community-powered samples. Office Add-ins is Office Add-in engineering, telling what's happening from their side. Now, we mentioned that some of the calls actually welcome community demos, and definitely welcome fill in the AKMS community request demo. This is a great way of actually, if you're an MVP, get stats for getting a renewal. If you're looking into getting an MVP status, this is a great way of getting that, because these are getting counted as a contributions within the MVP contribution. If you're not interested about MVP status, well, you can just practice your presentation skills by signing up for these things, and we will help you on that presentation. We will give you guidance. We will explain the best practices around those things as well. So feel free to sign up for that one. We do not welcome product demos, but if you build a product and they come to do a demo related on your learnings, how you built the product and what you learned as part of that submission pipeline and investigating the options, that is interesting. Selling the product within this calls, not welcome, because that would be selling things, and we don't want to compute. The community is different than selling events. Now, we do have a lot of stuff available to getting started in Microsoft Cloud in learn.microsoft.com. We do have 67 Learn modules currently for Microsoft 365 development, and then 112 Learn modules for Power Platform usage as well. A lot of capabilities there. We also have our Microsoft 365 developer program, and to learn, that's almost a duplicate slide accidentally, but I wanted to quickly recap again the status with the developer program. It is still on pause, unfortunately. We're still working on internally in Microsoft, the Microsoft is working on trying to figure out how can we, in a safe way, provide you a free Microsoft tenant, 365 tenant, after the fact that people started using them in a wrong way. So unfortunately, bad people started using that free program in a wrong way, and we needed to put it in pause. That work is still continuing. We should have updates on that one pretty soon. And until that time, there is an option, which is a paid option, which is not optimal. We understand that. We're looking for options to address that. But right now, you can actually get a tenant for a $6 in a month. That's $72 in a year. And you will have an environment which is yours. And it will be yours as long as you keep on paying $6 in a month. So there's a lot of benefits on this one as well, even though it's not free. The free developer tenants, they require that you are using that for development every single month, or otherwise you will lose it. So there's a lot of options in here as well. Now, we do have different shows available for Microsoft 365 and Power Platform, PMP Weekly, Microsoft Community, Microsoft Mondays at Microsoft, and also Microsoft 365 Developer Podcast. Now, PMP Weekly, last episode actually aired on 17th of September, so we do not actually do that anymore. We're looking into establishing a new podcast series together with Waldek Mastercards, which should be there by end of this year. And then Caruana and Heather are having their Monday as Microsoft happening every single bi-weekly. Yeah, not every single Monday, bi-weekly on Mondays. And then the Microsoft 365 Developer Podcast is expected to come back with the new shows as well. So a lot of updates on that side. We did mention we do have our samples available. The easiest way to get access on the GitHub samples is to actually go to our sample gallery at AKMS Community Samples. From here, you can filter down for SharePoint framework, for Power Platform, Microsoft Teams AI stuff by using the search and product filtering, and you find the relevant sample for you. So it will make it easier for you to find the samples which you're looking into, or getting inspiration for what somebody else has done. Great way of finding great scenarios, even for products, what people have been sharing within the GitHub. So this is really intended to make it easier for you to get started rather than going all around the multiple GitHub locations trying to find the relevant sample for you. So please take advantage of that one. Now, when you find a sample, you might be wondering, wait a minute, this is in GitHub. I don't know, what is this? How do I get to use this one? And that's why we have our Sharing is Caring initiative. And David Warner, directly from LA, is here to talk about what does this mean?
Hello from Hollywood. Yes, everybody, this is David. And yes, we're here to talk about Sharing is Caring. And this is a program, as Vesa mentioned, that's going to provide hands-on guidance. So if you're looking to use those samples, or even better, if you're looking to contribute to those samples, we got you covered. But we understand that Hub of Gits is really hard to understand sometimes. So these sessions are live, they're hands-on. We'll walk you through making a contribution and understanding what a pull request is and what a fork is, what a repo is, and you'll actually get credit as a contribution. It's a safe space, which means that there are no recordings, so you're free to ask any and all questions that you would like to ask, and we're going to learn together. 100% free, no charge. We learn through it together. We just had one yesterday. It was a great time. We're getting another one scheduled for mid to late October, so be on the lookout at ak.ms/sharingiscaring. Links in the chat. And then you're thinking, well, wait, what do I get if I contribute to the community? That's a great question. We just happen to have a slide ready. And our community recognition program is here to provide that recognition. Powered by Credly, those same official and accredited badges. And as Vesa had mentioned, we got some special badges for this month. It is Hacktoberfest. Hacktober, yes, but it's also Promptober. And guess what? We're starting up the Refresh Ranger. So if you're looking to update a sample, say maybe an SPFX sample or any other sample that could use a refresh or an update, we want to recognize that in a special way. We've also got the new SPFX Toolkit badge. So we're coming out with all kinds of special badges. We just left Promptober behind, so congratulations to all those who got that badge. And we're also going to be recognizing everybody in the recognition program by name in future calls. So be on the lookout for that. Absolutely free of charge. We cover the cost, no cost to you, ak.ms/community/recognition. We do need you to opt in so we know where to send those badges. And we want to thank you. We love you all for what you're doing. Keep up the great work. Vesa, back to you in the Finland studios.
Thank you, Hollywood. Finland taking over. I really love the Refresh Rangers, diamond shapes. So it's good to have variations on the shapes of the badges as well. So great work on that one. And the other badges as well. So thank you for driving this effort, David from LA. Now, quick recap on all of the different events which are happening. So first of all, TechCon 365, Seattle already done, DC already done, Dallas is still happening at November 11th to 15th. Great opportunity to catch up with the community and meet other community members. We also have the Ignite coming at Chicago. Unfortunately, the in-person experience is already sold out. That has not been updated on this line, but there will be an online free option to join Ignite at ignite.microsoft.com. So you do want to register, so you're able to actually see the program and then sign up reminders whenever there are sessions coming on. Then we also have the European SharePoint Conference or European Microsoft 365 SharePoint Azure Conference. I think that's the bigger name for it, but that's happening on 2nd to 5th December 2024 at Stockholm. So looking forward on that one as well. I'll be there definitely as well. And then we have our European Collaboration Summit 2025 happening on 26th to 28th of May. So a lot of events, bigger events happening. And we're expecting ECS also to be like 5,000 attendees, I guess, in 2025. So a lot of people are expected on these big conferences. Great opportunities to meet up other people in the community. Now, on top of those, there are a lot of other community events. Some of them are free. Some of them has a small cost in them. Some of them are in person. Some of them are remote. Great opportunities again for you potentially to present, at least to join the event, meet up other people in the community and presenters and so on. So please have a look on communitydays.org for all of these events happening all around the world. Now, quick recap on the news. Interesting week. It's kind of understandable. There was no news from the Power Platform side last week. And you might be wondering, why is that? Well, 2 weeks ago, we had the Power Platform conference in Las Vegas. So all of the news were announced on that week. And then the week after is always kind of a silent week after those conferences. On the Microsoft 365 side and Copilot side, there was a lot of news and updates still happening last week. And we're expecting to even more news on this week. So a lot of events and a lot of new things happening across the Microsoft stack for sure. And David has shared the links in the chat if you're interested in checking them out. Now, we also wanted to quickly recap and remind everybody on this great opportunity of sharing Copilot prompts. So this is a relatively new initiative where we're trying to collect a community prompts in a single location. You can absolutely access these using the sample gallery as well. But basic idea here is that as we're testing around the Microsoft Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot, that's the right name currently, Microsoft 365 Copilot and the Copilot, we can actually share those prompts between the other community members to learn the best practices of using the Microsoft 365 Copilot and Power Platform Copilot. Prompt of the week this week is from Ravinder Yadhav around summarizing a recent discussion. It's an example of how we can use the the Copilot to actually get information around the recent chats and recent key topics and make it in a approachable summary for you rather than reading all of the things which might take time and time. So thank you, Ravinder, on that example. Now, before we go then to the actual stars of today and start the demo section, it is picture time. So we're able to actually have a quick picture together in Together mode. Let's see how the Together mode is working today. I will enable the Together mode and my camera. If we can get the Together mode, there we go. And I will move this one in here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It will hopefully catch up. Bum, 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 bum. There we go. Excellent. That's looking much more promising. So I think we are starting to be here. A lot of people. Cool. A lot of people. I'm still not in the picture. So, oh, there I am. I can find myself. So let's wait a few more seconds and wait a few more people to join. We do have 50 seats in the room. It's always good to wait for people to join. It takes a while for that to catch up. Awesome to see a lot of people all around the world. This is the beauty of Together Mode in Teams, so we can do this together, even though we are not located in the same location. Cool. Few more people in the front row. We have seats in the front. People, seats in the front. Wait. Go to the front. There's seats in the front. Okay, I will put the recording on, and we can see the 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do some hand waving. Paul, in the front row. Be the example. Excellent, and everybody else on the call as well. Excellent. Thank you, Todd, for yelling on the background. Thanks, everybody. We'll grab a GIF animation out of that and share that in the social media. So thank you for that one. And let me move you on this side, and let me get rid of the Together Mode, so it doesn't actually cause confusion. Next, it is time to go to the actual stars of today, we'll start with Sathya, and then we'll move it to Luca and me, talking about the Viva Connection. But first, on the Teams AI-powered helper on generating automatic action items using Azure Open AI. Super cool topic. Sathya, do we have a connection?
Yeah, thank you, Vesa. Thank you. I hope you're able to hear me okay, and I'm just going to be sharing my screen. Please to confirm.
Yep. Audio is fine. The screen sharing is starting, and you are in the presentation mode. Excellent. Take it away.
Awesome. Thank you again, for the wonderful opportunity to present these samples. First, before getting into the actual sample itself, just wanted to give an introduction on what exactly these samples are. These are essentially, common scenarios that we kept hearing again and again from our customers, from other partners, developers that we have been working with. These are very hot, trending, scenarios that our customers deeply care about. So we thought, instead of each customer trying to figure out on their own, each developer trying to come up with a solution of their own, why don't we have some starter templates that we can probably build and then share in GitHub as open source, and that would kind of form the building block for whatever solution you want to build. So now, if you have a scenario that's somewhat close to one of our templates, you can take the template, you can customize it, you can edit it, extend it, because it's all open source. You can and it's under MIT license as well. So you can build it however you want and customize it however you want according to your unique requirements. And you don't have to start from scratch. All the building blocks are going to be available in these samples that we are publishing in GitHub, right? That's the idea of this. These are not really plug and play solutions, in the sense these are not really tested to be like a production ready solution covering all the use cases. These are more like a starting building block that you can use to build your own solutions, and you don't have to start from scratch. That's the idea of these. We have done, I think, about 6 samples, and this is one of them that I'm going to be presenting. The one that I'm going to be presenting for today's call is basically the AI meeting helper, a meeting assistant. This is a very common scenario that you might have heard in a meeting such as ours, or even in a large meeting where you are busy talking to your teammates, busy talking to your customer, client, whoever it is. It'll be helpful if there is a assistant who takes notes, action items, and kind of sends it to you proactively, right? Like no one wants to do the drudgery work. It's always very, very efficient to have AI kind of recognize who's speaking, what's being spoken about, what is the summary, what are the action items that needs to be assigned for different people. So that's kind of what this sample currently handles. Now, one other thing that I wanted to anchor before we move into the exact sample is, this is something that we have published on GitHub. Like I mentioned earlier, you can actually start using this to build your own solution right now. You can also extend it, make it your own IP. You can redistribute it to your customers, partners, whatever it is that you'd want. With that, let me jump into the sample directly. So this is essentially, like I mentioned, a sample that will allow you to get a subscription made to Teams meetings whenever you have a Teams meeting that is something that you are currently on, or you would want to join in the future. You can use this app to see what are the upcoming meetings, create a subscription to that particular meeting or a bunch of meetings, and then have the transcript automatically sent to your choice of AI LLM. It could be OpenAI, it could be Llama, it could be whatever it is, the LLM of your preference. And then using that LLM, you would be able to, summarize the meeting notes, the action items, and this is all done automatically, proactively. And finally, the summarized version is sent to you as the user. And this can be done for all the participants of the meeting as well. All you have to do is ahead of time, just look up your meetings, subscribe to the meeting for which you want this to be done, and you are good. Now, while this is the scenario that is possible that we have published in terms of capabilities in GitHub, of course, you can extend it in a number of different ways. You can actually have the sample extended so that the action items are not just sent as text message to you. You can link it to, say, Planner or your own project management tool of choice, and ask it to actually create work items in those. For example, you could be using Trello, you could be using Azure DevOps, you could be using Planner. So using the graph APIs or the corresponding APIs, you can convert these action items into actual trackable work items in those different tools. In addition to this, you can possibly even do an AI analysis that kind of like comes up with, hey, did we achieve the objective of the meeting? Could we have done something better? Imagine this is a sales call and a sales agent is talking to a client, and post the meeting they want to do kind of like a analysis. Did I pitch all the right things? Can we do a post call analysis of how my current pitch with the customer was? Could I have done something better? All of this is something that you can actually do using this particular sample by just feeding probably an additional context about who the customer is, what you're trying to achieve, and asking the AI to kind of like critique how you have spoken on the call. So that's one of the scenarios, which by the way is a live scenario that I've heard from one of our FSI customers. So the possibilities are endless. It's completely up to you on how you want to customize and extend for your own use case. With that, let me show how this actually works. So like all Teams apps, you can kind of like add it from your app store. Once you add it, this has a personal scope bot where you can actually start typing show me upcoming meetings. This then uses Graph API to list the upcoming meetings for your day. It kind of like lists the next 10 upcoming meetings for now, but you can extend it to whatever logic you'd want. Maybe the meetings that you have actually sent RSVP yes to, or meetings that are within the team that you are part of. So that's a logic that you can customize as well. So once you have this list that is shown to you, you can click off any of these meetings and a subscription will be created. This is basically, again, a graph subscription that is created for the meeting so that our app knows when the meeting has started and when it has ended. And once it ends, it automatically gets the transcript. That's the reason why we are creating a subscription here. Now, imagine once you're setting up the subscription, then the meeting actually happens. That's what we are showing over here. Imagine the meeting is going to go, like all the participants join in, and you have like a really good call. It goes on for like, say, 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever it is. You have like a really long call. We are fast forwarding this because this really long transcript. And imagine like it goes on for 2 hours. Now, at the end of the meeting, the meeting transcript that gets generated automatically comes to you as a proactive message from the bot. This is the structure that we have currently come up with. This essentially gives you the name of the meeting, date of the meeting, the summary of what happened over there, action items for each person who attended the call. Now, in this case, you see 1 and 2. This is not a bug, by the way. This is basically the person who joined the call just said, hey, assign action item 1 and 2 to me, and A interpreted as 1 and literal 1 and 2. Right. So that's kind of like how this currently shows for the end user experience. From a developer side, let's take a peek at how this works. Right. This is the GitHub sample that I was talking about, which contains the code for this particular meeting. Helper is a bot meeting helper. Uh, Going through the code, this is essentially using our SDK Teams AI library SDK to set up the bot construct. Teams AI library SDK is basically an AI SDK that we have introduced that extends the already existing bot framework SDK so that you can easily build AI-enabled bots in Teams that works in Teams. The SDK is pretty useful. If you have not tried it yet, I would urge you to check it out. It has a lot of helpful constructs that allows you to do intent handling, action mapping. It can easily help you manage history, conversation context. You don't have to build many of these things from scratch. So I would strongly urge, if you're building a bot, AI-based bot in Teams that works in Teams, Teams AI SDK is going to be super helpful for you. So we have used that SDK over here. I will skip over some of the generic bot code because I think most of you would be aware of how the general bot works. Getting into the specifics of how subscription, all of this works, here is where we are subscribing to a particular meeting. The subscription gets created using the meetings join URL. So when we ask, hey, can you give me all the upcoming meetings? The meeting object gets created and it's sent across. And once a particular meeting object is clicked upon, like when in the drop-down list that you get, you click upon a particular meeting object, a subscription gets created. Let me just quickly show the part that comes up there. We are actually creating a subscription here using the join web URL, and that's how this particular subscription kind of like gets treated by Graph. And whenever that particular meeting starts, ends, someone joins, someone kind of like leaves the meeting, all those meeting related events is now available for your disposal. You can track them, you can do whatever you want with them. In this case, because we only care about the transcript that gets generated at the end of the meeting, we create the subscription so that we get the meeting ended event, the call ended event. So once the call ended event appears for us, once we are able to see that event coming after the subscription is done, what we do is we use get meeting transcription, another Graph API, which gets the transcription for us. So this is something that we do so that we get the transcript after, say, a certain amount of time, the meeting is ended. Now we have a text file which gives each person name, whoever has spoken during the meeting, and also what they spoke during the meeting. So now, armed with this information, then now we can actually have create the action items, create the logic needed for the summary and so on, like the AI generated summary and AI generated action items. This is the most interesting piece of how we have handled, really long meetings, right? This works very easily for like short meetings, right? Like you can just get the entire transcript, do an OpenAI call, and then you are done, because you'll be able to get the entire meeting context into the context window of Azure OpenAI model. It could be 8K, 16K, whatever it is. Yeah, if it's a short meeting, you don't really have to do much. You can just add the entire thing into the context window and you are good. But in most cases, our meetings go for longer duration, 1 hour, a lot of people speak, and we can't always be sure that the text content of the transcription will always fit into the context window of the model you are using. So for that reason, what we have done is we have chosen a chunk size. Basically, we have chosen a certain size or number of tokens that we can potentially allow for a particular model. We have chosen 3000 in this case because the smallest model, I think, now has a context size of 4000 tokens. So you can essentially get the transcript, chunk it down into different pieces. So for if the transcript is, say, 10,000 tokens, this will split it into 4 different chunks. Each chunk of 3000, and the last chunk being 1000 tokens. And each chunk is again going through kind of like an AA call, where each chunk is kind of like processed in a different AA call, and we call a chat completion API for that particular chunk, and then we try to come up with the action item for that particular chunk. So what we are doing is we are splitting the entire meeting transcript into a bunch of chunks. For each chunk, we call the API to get the action items, and at the end of the day, we kind of like merge all the chunks, action items, and summary to create one final summary. The reason why we implemented the sample this way is, while yes, the models now have really big context window, 32K, 64K, so you have really big context window. But in case you'd want to move to a different models, SLMs, and so on, where the context window is not going to be that high, then you have the option to chunk it down, and you can use this logic to implement your own chunking methodology. So that's the idea of this. So once all of this is chunked down, we have the meeting summary structure over here: meeting name, date, summary, and action item, which is what is sent to the user in the final window that you see over here. So you absolutely have the ability to change the chunking logic, you have the ability to change the chunking size, you have the ability to change what format you want the end report to come up in. So all of this is something that you can customize and make it your own. This is one of the reasons why I think our out-of-box Copilot also creates AA notes, meeting action items, and so on. But if you want some additional control over how you want the nodes and action items to be represented, and you want it to be sent proactively to the participants in the meeting, this is a sample that you can potentially use. With that, I'm handing it over back to you, Vesa, unless there are any questions.
Excellent. Thank you, Sathya. And thank you also calling it out that the out-of-the-box recording and summary, that is part of the Teams Premium. And this is basically showing how that this has been implemented. So kind of in high level, conceptually, this is how it actually works behind the scenes. But again, it's good to call out that if you don't have that option within your tenant, this basically shows how you could be able to implement that using Azure Open AI. And then you can choose which LLM model and you're going to use, and also technically implementation details behind the scenes. So really, really cool stuff. I love the fact that we're showing how out-of-the-box features are also could be done or by the community. So it really provides insights on how we are building stuff as well within the product. So thank you, Sathya, on that one. Cool. I guess it's then time to go to the next topic of the day, which is me and Luca. Luca, how's your audio today?
I don't know. You tell me. Does it work?
That works. Audio is fine. That's really, really good. Just for the sake of it, I can actually put myself in a camera as well. So what we're going to do, so let me actually go here. So in this section and this demo, we're going to spend some time on talking about what is the latest updates and future roadmap for the Viva Connection extensibility. And one of the reasons why we wanted to do this is also to provide a bit more transparency and insights on the significant investments what we're planning to do here in the future, and some sneak peeks in the further down in the future pipeline on the Viva Connection. So the Viva Connection itself is cool to see. It is really the usage is well, is it fair to say skyrocketing? But I cannot go to exact on the numbers, but they are looking really, really good. And we can see more and more extensibility within the platform as well. And we keep on investing here as an option for customers and partners and developers to build extensibility, so capabilities which might not be available out of the box. Some customer might be saying, I want to have X and Y and Z. I want to have an integration to my LOB system for, let's say, for vacation requests. Yes, you can easily do that. Not a problem. Anything, I'm going to put you on a spot immediately, Luca. Anything what you want to do in an intro, which I didn't tell?
No, I mean, just like
we should actually tell who we are. What are you? What is your role in Viva Connection?
I do stuff. I talk to people. No, I'm basically one of the PM that is part of the OneDrive SharePoint team, and which is part of the extensibility team in OneDrive and SharePoint. I also have the ability to work across multiple teams in Microsoft, like the internal teams, Graph API teams, Copilot teams, and so forth. And most importantly, I work with a set of amazing engineers that are able to build and create the things that you all enjoy. I'm a PM. For me, my life is easy. I make things working on a whiteboard. The hard work is given by the people that are basically trying to understand what I'm saying and building amazing features. So we should thank all of those people, and that's the reason why I'm here.
Yes, thank you, Luca. And John and Alex are representing engineering, definitely already in the call. I'm watching if there might be other people from the team as well, collecting and potentially answering feedback and questions which people might have around the Viva Connection and the platform. And also, my name is Vesa Juvonen. Might have heard my name before in this call, but I'm kind of
never tell us about you.
Yes, I'm the silent Finn. So
Sure.
VPNs. But yeah, I'm basically always partnering with Luca in many of the cases, and my role is more on being the voice of the Microsoft, explaining what are we shipping, how it's being used, building solutions, samples, open source, and all of that. So as our magnificent engineering gets us the features and capabilities, then the documentation, samples, videos, all of that is coming quite often from my work. So we use vendors and so on as part of that. So that's kind of the lookup controls the internals and focuses on delivery. I will then take the ball and start actually giving guidance how it can be used. That's kind of the roles within the Viva Connection and a SharePoint framework, I guess, all up.
I beg more than control, but yeah. Moving on.
No idea what that meant. Now, quick repositioning.
Please do this feature. That's what it means.
Oh, okay. So, quickly positioning of the Viva Connection. So, those who do not know, Viva Connection is part of the Microsoft Viva Employee Experiences platform. In that platform, there's a specific kind of a SKU or positioning, which is employee communications and community, where Viva Connection, Viva Amplify, SharePoint, and Viva Engage are kind of falling into that bigger pie. All of these applications have their own specific role, and they're intended to use together. So they're not competing each other. There might be a bit overlapping capabilities, but as an example, you can use Viva Amplify to publish your SharePoint news, Viva Engage posts, and then expose all of that same information in Viva Connection. So it's kind of a shared employee experiences, targeted the communications and employee access on the information. Specifically on the Viva Connection, this is really our people-centered and branded employee experiences across all device types. And this is now the difference a bit on the SharePoint. I'll come back on the positioning with SharePoint a bit there as even more. But really the idea here is that it doesn't matter which device type you're using, you are able to access exactly the same experience with mobile, tablet, and desktop. So again, easily access the relevant tools and apps which are relevant for you within your role. You can customize that based on the organization. It actually even supports personalized customization for a user. So the company can select which are the capabilities and cards and tools and applications which are exposed. And then the user can say, well, when I'm using my mobile, I only want to see these 4 which are relevant for me. Of course, company can disable that option if they want to have a specific set of cards available. So there's a lot of flexibility in the Viva Connection if you are not up to date how it actually works. Now, how do we position Viva Connection between the intranet and Viva Connection? So these are really intended to complement each other. So the SharePoint and intranet is really the company picture perfect storytelling. So this is what our company does. This is the assets of the company. The top-down kind of a communication, navigating the entire company, searching the whole company, and the tailored news targeted for me of course from a corporate communication. But then the Viva Connection is really about me. So as I'm using or as I'm moving, as I'm driving with my car, I can open up my mobile or tablet, hopefully not computer because you're driving, except if it's Tesla. You can quickly have a look on the latest news, access the latest tooling, which is relevant for you. So this is really personalized based on the user and the role what the user represents and what the user has. And really the Employee Experiences Center apps means that it's things which are relevant for the user. So like in our case for Microsoft, a lot of the applications which we have in the Viva Connection is really about the relevant tooling which I need to access, like, for example, mandatory learning, which I need to do, my cafeteria menus for the closest cafeteria where I'm located. I'm just watching the list in here, my stock award details, my vacation details, and all of that, and my report details. So if there's security issues, if there's issues, support issues, I can easily open those up directly from Viva Connection. So I always know where to find all of the relevant tooling for my role, rather than trying to remember all of the different URLs which are relevant for the role itself. And I can easily access all of this from one centralized location directly from Teams in any device. Now, all of this can be personalized from a company branding perspective, just showing different layouts and different experiences. This is imaginary Contoso Airlines, which has a green layout and different experiences over there, depending, again, on the company. They have implemented custom experiences which are relevant then for the ground crew or maybe for the plane crew. It could be also Contoso Retails, which has a different set of cards, different set of relevant information, which is being exposed between the desktop and mobile and tablet experience. experiences. Now, when we implement stuff for the Viva Connection, just quickly recapping, we do have 3 different modes to provide experiences. So you can do no-code extensibility, which is really linked to existing Microsoft Teams or Power Platform apps, and you can do personalized dashboard of apps for the end users. So you can actually build different kind of dashboard, define what are the functionalities, out-of-the-box functionalities which are exposed to which audiences. Now, we then have the low-code option, where you can actually do without actually writing code, as in the pro code. You can do static adaptive cards, but those are not necessarily super useful. You want to have that information dynamic, so you can actually access advanced API support. We're going to talk about that one in upcoming slides. It already shipped. We also have Power Card support, which is coming for Viva Connection pretty soon. Probably you haven't heard about this one before. We have a slide coming up on that one, and also Copilot Studio support is coming here. And what it means is that you're able to use Copilot Studio or Power Platform or Power Apps with Power Cards to define custom experiences for Viva Connection. And then, of course, we have the Pro Dev experience, which will give you the capabilities to real DevOps capabilities. So you can build the application in one tenant, move it across the tenants with the bucket solution super easily, which is not the case with no-code and low-code, because you need to click through and repeat the steps. The Pro Dev always means that you have that kind of a capability. You're able to package, deploy, control, and you have the IT level governance on the Pro Developer side. Now, let's then go through individual capabilities. If you have any questions, thank you, Paul, for the comment on the chat. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the chat. We have engineering in the house as well. First of all, just to recap, we do have a lot of partner solutions available for Viva Connection in the store. If you go AKMS/Viva/store, you will actually find, I think, more than 30 applications already. And a lot of these are actually integration scenarios, which is really the sweet spot of the Viva Connection. So you can imagine something like Workday integration as one option in the Viva Connection. So rather than the frontline workers going to the Workday and signing in and doing things in the complex UX, there's a simplified UX directly targeted and optimized for mobile. So the user can actually go to Viva Connection in Teams, they click the card open, and they can fulfill the task quickly using the quick link, quick action, quick view within the card against that backend system. And that's really the sweet spot of the Viva Connection. So you don't have to move necessarily across the application. You can do the quick tasks directly within the Viva Connection UX. And if needed, you can still transition to the application, absolutely. So kind of having those options available. There are definitely, I think, 365 cards mentioned or included in this list as well. So please have a look on AKMS Viva Store. Just calling out reaction on Simon Doe's comment in a chat. But there are a lot of applications. Some of these are available in App Store, which is the same as SharePoint Store. Some of these might be actually that they're not exposed there, but they can be deployed to your tenant if you contact a partner. So there's a lot of existing ecosystem partners who are building with these things. Now, we also have advanced API support for Card Designer. This was the Card Designer V2. This is already available, which was shipped earlier this year in spring, and it really enabled us to do simple API-powered dynamic experiences. And what we mean with that one is that you're able to use adaptive cards, which are static, but you're able to then have an API call for the adaptive card to make it dynamic. So as an example, simple examples, typical example would be my upcoming meetings. You have a card which is listing my upcoming meetings from this moment forward. You want that to be dynamic, coming from the user-specific API. What are the meetings for the particular user? And then hitting that endpoint behind the scenes, then rendering those meeting invites directly within the UX. Same for the emails. Great examples of using Microsoft Graph behind the scenes, hitting the capabilities. So really the intention here is to empower the makers and builders to create dynamic experiences, not require them to use Visual Studio Code or Visual Studio because that typically freaks out some of our end users, so that they can still make a lot of capabilities available. Now, this does require that you are enabling this capability explicitly within your tenant. That's not enabled by default, but we have all of the documentation, of course, available for you to take advantage. And then if you are the maker or builder, you need to have a discussion with your tenant administrator to suggest that this setting would be enabled, so you're able to actually get access on the functionalities behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I want to add the fact that I
Yep.
want to add the fact that it's amazing to see how communities react to these new capabilities. You can already find samples in PNP on how to use this new capability of Card Designer as part of the PNP samples and solutions that is managed by this amazing community.
Yep. Absolutely. I think we learn by sharing our knowledge and sharing the learnings and sharing things. And of course, Microsoft is providing samples as well. But awesome to see that community is sharing those samples as well. Now, something which you might have actually not be aware of, moving on to areas which are still low code, no code capabilities. This is kind of a both, because adaptive card is JSON and it's complicated a bit, but it's still a code because it's hitting an API. But moving on a different low-code option, something what we're building right now without an ETA, I cannot promise you exact date, but we're looking into supporting exposing those cards also within a SharePoint. Currently, you can expose Viva Connection cards in the SharePoint, but only in the SharePoint welcome site or start site. What do we call that, Luca?
It's basically in a com site, in a news site.
But it's only one site within a tenant. So it is.
We have a dashboard web part that you can only set up on a specific kind of site. That is correct.
Yes. So now within the future, as we get this feature out, you can actually select and build individual instances of dashboard, whatever is needed, one-to-n cards in a web part. And then those can be exposed in any location within a SharePoint. So now if you think about implementing a card or using the card platform, the same card can be exposed then multiple times in a SharePoint and also in the Viva Connection, which increases then the value of the card implementation. And that includes communication side and modern team side. Definitely, we're looking into having both options there. So really, really cool option as well. So again, exposing the value of investments, not just on Viva Connection, but also on SharePoint. Now, something else which we mentioned on the intro section already, what we are looking into or what is in the works right now is the Power App Cards support for Viva Connection. This is in works. Again, no ETA, but it's currently being already developed, and we're looking forward of getting this one out. This is something which I was actually in the Power Platform conference 2 years ago when the Power Cards were announced, and then it came immediately to the discussion on, hey, so do we support Power Cards also in Viva Connection? And the answer is yes. We're looking into making that happen. That is being worked right now, so that's going to be available sooner or later. There is already internal discussions ongoing on this one that, okay, so now that we start with Power Cards, going to have full Power App support as well. And the answer is yes, we're looking into that. I cannot promise that, no ETA, but we're looking into making this happen, definitely. Now, moving on things, the next area, Luca, I think you're better to explain. What does the Copilot Studio agents, publishing Copilot Studio agents in Viva Connection mean? This is in works. I've seen it. We showed it in build.
Show it in build. We are aiming to release some sort of previews by this calendar year. So stay tuned for more updates here. But basically, the premises here is that as we are making the power users and the makers more and more powerful, one of the things that we want to be able to do is to integrate Viva Connections with other tools that are working with makers. You have seen a second ago all the work that we are doing with all the work that we have done in Card Designer, all the work that we are doing in Power Apps. And now one of the things that we want to do is to be able to support agents that were built using Copilot Studio in Viva Connection. So the idea here is that when you build your agent, and you can basically decide if your agent can talk to using Adaptive Card, which is one of the capabilities that we have in Copilot Studio. At the end, when your agent has been created, you will be able to publish this agent in Viva Connections, and when that gesture has been done, the operator, which is the persona that is in charge of the building and crafting the dashboard in Viva Connection for your organization, he or she will be able to see the Copilot or agent as a card, select that, and basically configure it. And once you've done that, basically the experience for the end user standpoint will be exactly the same like any other card. The end user will see the card, will click on the card, and then what shows up in the quick view, and maybe you want to go to the next slide, Vesa, what shows up in the quick view is, so what it shows up in the quick view is basically powered by the Copilot Studio agent itself. While crafting the card view experience, we are able to provide some kind of capabilities or functionalities for the author to basically make a better experience for the card view itself. So, for example, one of the things that we're working on together with the Copilot Studio folks is that you will be able to, if you are defining some prompts in the Copilot or in the agent, we will be able to surface that information in the card view. And while crafting the card view experience, you will be able to select that. We are mimicking a little bit the card view designer experience that we have in Card Designer, so that the operator will be able to craft that kind of experience around the agent itself, which comes to life when you click on the card or on one of the buttons and the quick view itself shows up.
Cool. It's really cool. So now if you're using Copilot Studio to build your custom studio, Copilot Studio agents, you are able to expose them in Viva Connection, which crossed all of the different devices, which is awesome. Just to recap on that one. Now, the next one is also super, super exciting if you're into the Copilot agents. So this is also in works. We've shown this in a high level also in the past. Can you talk a bit about exposing Viva Connection cards in Microsoft 365 Copilot?
Absolutely, Vesa. Thank you. And I mean, as you folks see here progressing, you can see a pattern here, which is you do an investment somewhere, and we want to help you maximizing, and our customers and our partners, so everybody here, maximizing these investments across multiple canvases. So a couple of slides ago, Vesa was describing the fact that now we are do work so that cards will show up also on multiple kind of sites on SharePoint, not just in the dashboard in Viva Connection, not just like a home site, but everywhere else. This is basically the same, how you can reuse or maximize your investments in Viva Connections and cards, or ACEs, Adaptive Card Extensions, which is the name of the cards that you surface in the Viva Connection dashboard, how you can maximize that investment and surface these cards also in Copilot. And the premises here is that dashboard and Viva Connection is just another set of content that your company has. And we believe that because you invested on Viva Connection, you want that content to surface everywhere. So the idea here is that to be sure that when there is a dashboard and when there are cards, and Copilot understands that one of those cards could fulfill a specific request from a customer, and there is an interaction in any of the Copilot chats, in Teams, in SharePoint, wherever, the Copilot will understand that the card exists and will understand that the user can access the card. Then the card will surface as part of the chat interaction with the user, and the user will be able to interact directly within the chat experience. So the card will be as part of the chat, the user will be able to click, quick view will surface, everything will happen within the Copilot experience. So the user flow will not be interrupted. There is nothing that the card developer needs to do. There is no requirements for you to recreate your card. If your card has been developed 6 months ago, 8 months ago, and has already been widely used in your organization or with your customer organizations, these cards will just surface. Copilot understands the meaning of the card by looking at the title and the description of the card and does the matching by doing that. This is how it's going to work right now. We are doing additional work to surface more capabilities for the developers and the operator to even specify the intent further. But for now, we are just using title and description so that existing cards will just like works, no additional work needed.
Yep. And just to recap, this is again for if you are investing on the Viva Connection, the employee experiences platform, then the employee experiences platform is going to be surfaced for you directly within the Copilot chat or M365 chat or whatever we called it. Right now, again, we're changing the names all the time, but it's basically same investments, multiple location, exposing the same location. Rather than implementing things multiple times, implement once and it's being surfaced in other locations as well, which is great.
Exactly.
Thank you, Luca, on that one. Now, moving on the features, because knowing the time as well, moving on a bit about the pro developer side of the house, so going to the pro code and pro dev side, and answering actually Elliot Cole's question. Elliot was like, well, we're talking about ACEs here. Is that the same as adaptive card? The answer is yes and no. It's complicated. Now, the reason why it's a bit complicated is that ACE is adaptive card extension, and the extension piece there means that it's actually dynamic. It has code. It can hit APIs. It can react on things. Adaptive card by itself is only a UX. It's just a UX. you have to have code behind the scenes which is reacting on customer button clicks, doing things. And that's actually SPFX. So SharePoint Framework, which is powering ACs, is able to hit backend APIs, is able to integrate your backend systems, LOB systems, hit your Azure APIs, hit Microsoft Graph. So that transforms the adaptive card to be dynamic without running any code outside of your tenant. Because SharePoint Framework actually is capable of running the code directly within your tenant. No hosting costs, no security concerns, no nothing. The code itself is still capable of hitting the right APIs based on our business requirements. And the latest version with SharePoint Framework is 1.20, which went G8 last week. With 1.20, we introduced an additional set of card shapes, which are the bar cards, donut card, and then the, what is the last one? Bar and pie, of course, pie chart. So now you're able to build dynamic cards using the ACs. The UX, which you see in this dashboard, is still powered by Adaptive Card Engine. But behind the scenes, the SPFX is capable of collecting the dynamic data. So it's able to hit again the backend and get the information and then exposing the relevant data for you. And that's really the power of SharePoint Framework on top of the adaptive cards. As part of 1.20, we also released a new powerful web quick views, which provides more flexibility from a UX perspective. And this really, again, coming back on the pro developer storyline here, which is when you are implementing reusable card ACs and cards, which are dynamic, you are hitting a backend systems, you're hitting a graph APIs, all of that, and you want to move that card across the tenants. So you want to do testing in your developer tenant, deploy that to your customer, all of that. That's when you want to use pro developer tooling. Now, starting with 120, again, we have a quick view option, and that means that whatever you see within that quick view, which is the full screen view in here in the mobile, in here, let me actually do it in this way. In mobile, it would be this view here. You own the whole experience. It doesn't have to be anymore just adaptive card. It can be HTML and JavaScript, which gives more flexibility from a rendering perspective. So as an example, the OneDrive card, which is an out-of-the-box card here, is using the same pattern to provide a dynamic experience because you cannot actually build and render a tabbed experience by default in adaptive cards. Well, there's ways of doing things of ways, but by default, it would be incredibly complicated. So this will enable additional capabilities, additional control, additional UX, more dynamic experiences anywhere where the card is being exposed across the whole stack, which is really cool.
Again, reusability. You have invested on the code. We want to be sure that your code can be surfaced across everywhere, and we are lowering the friction for adapting new functionalities, just like adaptive card, a new canvas like Viva Connection in the dashboard.
Yep, absolutely. Now, then you might be wondering, okay, that was a good recap. No demos today, unfortunately. We'll demo all of the new stuff immediately when it's available, even more. But what about the next 12 to 24 months? So there is a lot of actually features and capabilities in our backlog. We're looking into prioritizing them accordingly based on the customer feedback and partner feedback. Of course, whenever we get all of the above mentioned things out, there's a lot of stuff you can do with those as well, but there's also a massive amount of other ideas how we can improve and even more maximize the value for customers and partners. Now, one question what I have here, we are running out of time in a second, but if you do have the option and you have 2 minutes time and you're like, oh, well, why wouldn't they do X and Y and Z? Please fill in the form. So there's an AKMS URL, David just pasted that in the chat, AKMS/vc-community-call-oct 2024. It is a super simple form, but you can actually share that in idea and inspiration for us as well. So if you're looking into something which is missing, you're like, why isn't Microsoft getting this? Use the form. We are here to help you. We are building all of these capabilities based on the customer and partner feedback. Your feedback truly matters. So feel free to fill in the form. Please fill in the form and provide feedback over there. We'll get back on that one. And don't be, don't be hesitant. Think about no limits. If you have the magic wand, anything is possible in the world. What would you want us to do? Let us know. Fill in the form. Now, quick recap on the resources which are available for Viva Connection. Viva Connection URLs, just recapping those. Thank you, David, for sharing those in the chat. We'll share those outside in the video recording as well. So a lot of capabilities on getting started, options, documentation, all that is available. But we are running out of time. So let me actually do this properly in here. Excellent. So thank you for this one. So we will actually close up the call right after this. So thank you. And then coming in here, that was for the recording. So I can actually cut that away from the recording in a nice way. It wasn't Anshul who did the demo today. It was actually Sathya for the Teams AI powered helper. That was really, really cool. And thank you, Luca, for partnering on the Viva Connections side. So that was super, super helpful as well. We will share immediately updates and demos, additional guidance when we get stuff a bit more ready, the new stuff which we haven't already showed. And if there's things which you want us to show, please let us know by using the feedback forms. Next week, on the 8th of October, we do have 3 cool demos. Anshul is back on the AI Teams stuff, really, really cool stuff there. Sebastian Levers is going to share getting started with the declarative agents in Microsoft 365 Copilot. And then Mark Windel is going to share the latest features in the SharePoint Embedded. There's, again, a lot of cool updates on that side. That's on 8th of October. And so please be there next week as well. Be here, there, here, there, here. Anyway, in the meanwhile, please use our Discord server. We are hitting 2,300 members on this one pretty soon. It is super, super close. Great location for people to actually chat between the other members in the community. If you're using Discord, we have that option covered as well. In general, please do give us feedback around this course, what's useful, what doesn't useful. If you want some specific things to get covered, please let us know. We are building this and doing this course for you as well. So we want to address your feedback. But other than that, the recording will be available within our YouTube channel within 24 hours. Please be subscribed today so you'll get notified whenever that's available. Follow us on Twitter and in LinkedIn to get notified as well and get the latest updates. Next call in October 8th. But that's all we're going to do today. Only 1 minute over time, so not too bad. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Have a great rest of the week, and let's stay in touch. Bye-bye.